mortal, really, for those persons because they're not in full control of their own faculties, right? Somebody's being compelled by their body to, and so that does weaken their culpability. All right. So you have to know that it's a bad sin, and you have to freely do it. All right, commit to do it, and not be forced for that. Okay. So we look at the 10 Commandments. We know so. These examination of conscience that I want to give you, and I think what I'm going to do is our next session, I'll have those for you. And so if we don't meet somewhere else, but I will have those for you the next time we meet. But basically what it does is it helps you take a look at your life and see how you kind of match up. Because again, a lot of people don't know what to say when they come in. And so, for instance, can somebody tell me what the first commandment is?
I am the Lord your God. You shall not have strange gods before me.
Okay, so the first commandment is, I am the Lord your God, and you should not have strange gods before me. So, what if it's a Sunday, and a certain team is playing some kind of sport, football, and I decide to miss the Mass in order to go watch a game?
Not good.
Did I commit a sin?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it mortal? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I put a game over God.
You want to use it? The app.
Oh, see, she's got the app. She just pulled that right out, and she's, yeah.
You can use it. I had to
Yeah, so when you when you have your app, it'll say like, do I seek to love God with all my heart, with all my soul, and with all my strength? Or do I put anything or anyone above God? Do I pray daily? And so that's the first commandment. And so when you go into the priest, you're just saying, you know what? I miss church. I miss Mass. Okay, like 3 times. All right? And again, you don't have to justify yourself. You don't have to sit there and give me a story of why. I prefer you don't. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to hear your stories. So you just say, I miss Mass 3 times. We move on. All right, you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Have I blasphemed about God or the church, or Mary or the saints, or sacred places or things, or if I use God's name in vain? So you could say, all right, Father, I missed Mass 3 times. I said the Lord's name in vain 5 times. Okay, I've gossiped about others 3 times. I've cheated on my spouse 3 times. I've stolen 9 things, and I've killed 3 people. Okay, that's it. That's all you have to say. I don't want anything else. All right, so
You don't want to know. You can't just say the numbers like I did number 1. I did number 2.
yeah, you can't just say the numbers.
Okay.
I actually had somebody. Okay, so let me tell you what I do remember. Okay, sins are like garbage, and I love the image that Kyle gave about like when you get sick, you emesis, you throw up. So sin is it's like garbage, and so a lot of people, when they don't go to confession for a long time, they're like carrying around garbage, and sin, it stinks, right? It's horrible. Why carry that around? But what I do remember is, how when you think about your own garbage, you may not remember all of that stuff that's in the garbage, but you may remember a particular stinky one, and that's kind of what with me is I don't remember who told me what, but I do remember certain types of sins that people have told me, okay? And so, but that's okay, because it is what it is, all right? So people, when you come in, some people have said, well, I've done 1 through 10, or I've done 1 through 5, or I've done 2 through 6, or whatever, and that doesn't cut it. All right? It doesn't cut it. You have to be able to humble yourself and just say, I did this, and however many times. Here's another catch. Okay? Kyle already talked about that God can only forgive you the sins that you confess. And that's true. If you intentionally withhold something from the confessor, it invalidates the whole thing. The whole thing. So it's a lot of people walk out of the confessional thinking that they may have been forgiven, but they intentionally withheld something and it did not happen. Because I don't do magic in there, okay? What I do is I act on behalf of the authority that has been given to me. And if somebody is contrite, if somebody is sorry for what they've done, and I usually know that because you say, forgive me, Father. And so I take it for the benefit of the doubt. When you say, forgive me, you're sorry, right? And so, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been 3 weeks since my last confession, and these are my sins. I've missed Mass 2 times. I've did whatever. That's how it should be, okay? And you should prepare yourself. A lot of times when we go on cold turkey, it's horrible because you end up forgetting something that you maybe wanted to say, or you focus in on something else that really has no bearing. Some people come in and they'll tell me everybody else's sins. They'll just talk about other people, and it has nothing to do with themselves. And I feel like that's because it's just bad preparation. I think we've all experienced, maybe not, but I know in seminary, I could tell if the priest had prepared himself for the Mass. Like, I could tell that. Like, if they got up there and they started preaching, and sometimes I'm like, he did not prepare. I can tell that because it's kind of loosey-goosey, and, so if your professor or something did not prepare, it's going to affect the lesson. It's going to affect your learning. It's the same with yourself. If you don't prepare yourself, you're going to go off the track, okay? And priests, I don't know if you've ever been to confession with me or not, but I may have asked you, I may, because of what you said or how you said something, I may give you an examination of conscience. So I may say, have you missed Mass or a holy day of obligation? Well, yes. Okay. Have you, so I'll just start going down the list because I'm trying to help you. Because I don't want you to walk out of there, not making a good confession. And we're there to help you. So sometimes it can be nerve-wracking, and maybe you do forget, and you can say, Father, I need help. Okay? And I'll help you. I think any confessor, but here's what you don't do, okay? You don't, when you look in the line and there's 40 people and Mass is 10 minutes from starting, that's when you don't go in there and start telling me everybody else's sins and giving me a story, because it's not being respectful to the rest who are trying to get their confession heard before Mass. Does that make sense? Yeah. So it's just, there's a justice thing to it as well. All right? And being the year of mercy, this is the coolest thing ever. All right? Is that at our cathedral in San Angelo, Texas, we have a holy door. And so that was blessed on the third Sunday of Advent by Bishop Sitz. Okay? And not only was it our church, but all over the world, every cathedral in the world on that third Sunday of Advent blessed their door. So you who are parishioners of the cathedral and you who live in the city of San Angelo, you have a beautiful opportunity of walking through that door. But why? What does that door do for you? Well, I'll tell you. It's Pope Francis, who has the authority of who? God, right? Who did All right, so if you think about all the bishops, they all have what we call apostolic succession. So Jesus laid his hands on the apostles. So he had how many apostles? 12. We might have drank too much and forgot, but 12. They had 12. But then they died, right? So how did their authority get passed on? Say it again.
To other people before
Okay,
they
so they laid hands on other people, who then laid hands on other people, who then laid on, okay, so that's called apostolic succession. So the laying on of hands, so you can trace Bishop Sis all the way back to the original 12 apostles. Isn't that pretty cool? Bishop Sis is a successor to the apostles. Okay? Every bishop, all right? You can trace them back to the original 12, all right? And so, but there's one particular bishop that is special because he is a direct descendant of Peter. Who is that bishop? Francis, the Bishop of Rome. He is the 246th successor to Peter. Okay? That's pretty cool. Right? So, and because he is Peter, that's how you need to think of the Bishop of Rome, is Peter. So we should not pit a pope against a pope. You know, it's very easy to do. Well, you know, Benedict, he was a little this, and John Paul II, you know, he was more of that, and John the 23rd, oh, he was jolly man, and you know, I mean, they have personalities, they're humans, but their office, their chair is Peter. And so he has the authority to say, you know, whatever I bind on earth is bound in heaven, whatever I loose on earth is loosed in heaven. And so he said this year, during the year of mercy, anybody who walks through the holy doors with being properly disposed will receive a plenary indulgence. And indulgences used to be a very bad word, right? Because there's a big, beautiful church in Rome called St. Peter's Basilica that was built by selling indulgences. That's a very bad history in our time. You know, that Martin Luther, he called us out on that. That was part of his 95 Thesis that he nailed on the cathedral door. And one of that was selling indulgences. All right, where basically if you give me money, I'll give you an indulgence. And we built St. Peter's Basin. So it's a monument to not only to the goodness of the church, but also to the badness as well. But an indulgence is not a bad thing. And what indulgence says is because of the authority that has been given to us by Christ, any temporal punishment that is due to sin is remitted. What that means in everyday language is if I break that window, okay, I can go and ask for forgiveness to Mr. Henry of breaking his window. And he would most likely forgive me because he's a forgiving man. But that window is still broke. I need to do something to fix that window because that's just. That's a just thing to do. But if I die before I can fix that window, even though that I've been forgiven, I still have to take care of that window, right? That's purgatory. Purgatory is that place where we have to fix things that still need to be fixed. Tie up the loose ends. Because only that which is perfect and holy can be in heaven. Okay? Not anything that's got any stain still attached to it. You're still claimed. Believe you me, there's only one place out of purgatory, and that's heaven. Okay? But what a plenary indulgence says is, you know what? Because that is forgiven. The broken window, forget about it. So if you were to die, straight to heaven as a saint. Straight to heaven. No questions, no purgatory. All right? And a plenary indulgence, because of the authority, again, is you can apply it to yourself or you can apply it to somebody else. okay? So we have a whole year of this holy door that you can take advantage of. Why not take advantage of it every single time you go to confession? Okay? So the conditions in order to receive the indulgence is that you go to confession, you receive Holy Communion, you pray for the Pope, the intentions of the Pope, and you walk through the door. Did I already say that? So, go to confession, receive communion, pray for the Pope, walk through the door. Those are the usual conditions to receive a plenary indulgence. All right? So, right now I want to open it up to questions and answers. There is no question that is off the table. This is very informal. So just whatever you got, fire away.
And it doesn't have to be about what we said. Although if we said something that you have a question about, I don't get that asked. But it could be about anything, right, Father?
Yeah, it could be anything. I think I've drank enough to be able to answer
Just
anything.
not sport. No sports question.
You talk about indulgences for others.
Yes.
Can you speak, how do you do that?
Okay, so-
You say a prayer and say, I want this to be offered for.
Good question.
this soul.
Right.
What's
So the question is, how does it work if you want to apply an indulgence for somebody else? All right? And it's as easy as what you just said. And that is, you say, Lord, I intend this indulgence to be for the holy souls in purgatory. I intend this indulgence to be for my mom. I intend this indulgence to be for myself. Because God is pretty good at keeping track of things. So all you have to do, it's all about intentionality. So if you say, I have the intention of receiving this indulgence for myself, then it goes to you. If you walk through the doors and I have the intention to receive this indulgence for Father Hatch, it goes to me.
But you don't have to be, it can be for living.
Of course. Yep. Because that is, and all of that is possible because we have the authority to do so. And that's,
You have to get that indulgence from you first, then pass it to somebody else.
yes, you have to gain the indulgence. So you have to be properly disposed to receive the indulgence in order for it to be applied to somebody else. That's correct. Any other questions?
And it's within a time frame, right? That you go to.
There is a time frame. Okay. Depending on who you ask, it's either 7 or 21 days. I think the sooner the better. And what that means is, say you go to confession, say you walk through the door, say you pray for the Pope, but you haven't received Holy Communion. We say that you need to receive Holy Communion within a week, at least 7 days. I think Bishop Sis is he allowed one to be for 21 days. Okay, so but I'm hesitant to say any of that because I want you to get it done ASAP. So you know, if you come on confession, like at the cathedral, we have confession